Now it's time for sports with 7 News' Jack McGuire.
Lawton High opened their baseball festival with a win back on Thursday. Today they closed out the festival, hoping to also move to 500 early on in the year. Now we look to the pro level where, believe it or not, the NBA regular season is nearly over. The Oklahoma City Thunder have had their fair share of attention thanks to some point guard they have. He's pretty good, I guess. Records a bunch of triple doubles. Oklahoma State, year in and year out, is a perennial power in the sport of wrestling, but the Cowboys have failed to bring home a team national title since 2006. One of the more impactful weeks for the Cameron University basketball teams continues. The week started back on Thursday as the CU women defeated Tarleton State. However, the men would fall by only 6.
The electricity is definitely already building. You've got the music playing, you've got the fans filing in, and as you mentioned, Altus comes into this game 1-0 after beating Clinton in 0 week. But that's not why the fans are excited. They're excited because for the first time in 34 years, their Bulldogs are going to take this field as defending Class 5A state champions. Day 4 of the Comanche County Tournament provided 2 clear-cut favorites on the boys' side. Geronimo and Indiahoma both earned 30-plus point victories on Day 2. Here in Del City, Tipton looked to advance to its 5th state championship game in 6 years by taking down Kremlin Hillsdale in the Class C state semifinals. First quarter, Samaje McBride breaks through and breaks off a 36-yard run for the touchdown. Tigers lead 6-0 after a failed 2-point try.
The 9th-ranked Marlow boys took on Little Axe tonight, opening possession of the game for Marlow. It's Braden Odell. Get up, young man. The alley-oop from Will Kaufman puts the Outlaws up 2-0. One on for Micah Kaukai. He sends that one deep to left and over the wall. That's the game. Kaukai with the walk-off 2-run home run. CU wins 5-3 and started off right. Victor Oladipo. Why he do Dwight Howard like that? A monster slam from Oladipo. Amidst all the craziness of basketball, the high school baseball season pushes on. Eisenhower sits 0-7 early on in the year. Tonight they hope to find a winning formula by taking down a fellow 5A area school. Russell Westbrook has cemented his name in the conversation for MVP this season. One of his biggest competitors for the award is also a friend and former teammate, Houston's James Harden. The Mike Boynton era at Oklahoma State has officially begun, and he takes the reins of a transitioning Cowboys program in Brad Underwood's lone year. OSU won 20 games, got to the NCAA tournament. To basketball now, it's safe to say the Oklahoma City Thunder and Golden State Warriors don't like each other. It started with regular season and playoff classics the past couple of years, but Kevin Durant going to Oakland, of course, didn't help.
This time of year is always fun when some of the best teams in Oklahoma need to prove that they can be called state champions, but we have a special Cinderella in the field this year. I'm in Skiatook, where the Eisenhower girls proved so many people wrong. Now, the Eagles are the perfect start for Altus when it comes to district play, which is one of the toughest districts in the state. The Bulldogs have been preparing for that athletic Eagles squad, but they also said that they're just going to stick to what they do best, and it's led them to a 3-0 record so far. Being playoff teams a year ago, Waurika and Grandfield registered Week 1 wins that were expected of them. The Eagles dismantled Temple 56-0, and the Bearcats rolled by Snyder 48-0. For an established program like Grandfield and a rising team like Waurika, Week 1 blowouts are just what they needed in preparation for their Week 2 matchup with one another.
Montoya doing work on the mound, but not quite how you think. Nicholas Paquin hits a chopper to Montoya, who rolls to stop it, and in stride throws Paquin out at first. Great play there. Altus eventually gets out of the
second quarter. Brandon Bench throws to the end zone. Kevon easily goes up and gets it. A 15-yard touchdown.
We go to a tie game in the 4th. Parfit McNair hits the 3 there. That gives CU a 73-70 advantage. Then they start to turn things up. Christina Soriano shifts gears and goes right to the basket there. Delvante Pierre comes out of the gate firing. He nails the 3 here to give CU an 11-3 lead. Inside the Dallas 2-yard line, Rogers looks to run it, but the ball pops out and Dallas has it. You done messed up, Aaron. Goes ahead and whips the pass over his head to Durant, and KD hammers it home. 25-21 West trails, but Greg Popovich is not impressed. Then the Black Mamba shows up, backs down Toronto's Kyle Lowry, fades away, and it falls.
We needed to change the tune, change the trend. I was unaware of it until y'all told me, but I had mentioned to the juniors and seniors that have accomplished a lot here together, you need to be the group that stops this. And so I think they took a little pride in that.
Keeping points off the board is always the goal for the defense, regardless of how many points that may be. OSU blocked 3 point-after attempts on the afternoon. 2 came from Vincent Taylor, who recovered and lateraled one to Trey Flowers for a 2-point return.
It's a huge momentum swing, right? Because that was the second score, I think, wasn't it? So they had tied it, and they scored twice in about 40 seconds. So it's kind of a downer. And then you get a block and you get the big play and they flip it and they score and the fans are excited. And those momentum changes in games are huge.
I was actually right in front of him, and how he was running with the ball, I kind of knew he was going to pitch it. And he had actually been talking about that all week, that if he gets a block and he was going to pitch it to somebody. So to see that happen, it was a really good play.
Mason Rudolph fueled the Pokes offense, throwing for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, but his most notable touchdown came on the ground, getting rocked at the goal line in the second quarter.
He's from day one, he's been very competitive, and he's been durable and, knock on wood, and tough, and that's why the players respect him.
You got to win the game, and he's a competitive guy. I think there's a time to get out of bounds, there's a time to slide, and there's a time to get in the end zone. And I think he knows that balance, that fine line, and he's going to compete and win.
Whenever Mason's able to, get me, Juwan, Chris Lacey, Austin Hayes the ball, when they rotate to James, it's harder for defenses to kind of key on one person, because if other people are making plays, then they have to respect everybody on the field.
A scary moment occurred in the second half. James Washington took a hard hit in the third quarter. Despite walking off the field, he was held out for the rest of the game. The team is optimistic for his return to practice within the next few days, even making light of the situation.
He's over there, he's having a good time. He wants back in the game. And, I did this, how many fingers? He said 4, and I said, you're ready. Get him in. And you guys didn't get that? I thought that was funny.
James will be fine. He's a little soft for that, but we're going to give him a hard time for that. But no, he got hit pretty hard, and I thought it should have been a penalty, but I think our guys did a great job stepping up.
For a third straight week, the OSU rushing attack had success, led by Justice Hills, 135 yards and 1 touchdown.
He ran hard, man. He does a lot of things for us. Great. I mean, he makes people miss, and that's what we need. And he's able to kind of break the long run, and it was huge for him, man. I'm really proud of him. Told him, how proud I am of him, and he's going to keep, with experience, it'll be the best teacher for him. He'll keep moving forward.
Oklahoma State now gets ready to host Mike Warren and Iowa State next Saturday. For the second time under head coach Travis White, the Tipton Tigers call themselves state champions despite plenty of youth on the team. This title is something that's been in the works since before even their 2012 state championship team, when many of these players were barely in junior high.
It's just a special feeling. I'm really happy for this group of kids. We told them when they were 5th graders, I told them when they were 6th graders that they can win a state championship. I said they're going to have to work hard, and they did. This is probably the hardest working group we've been a part of. Just a great group, a great team. It's just nice to see them win it.
The Tiger defense made the difference in rain-soaked Weatherford, more specifically to start the second half. Samaje McBride and Andrew Lechuga recorded back-to-back interceptions, both returned for touchdowns to give Tipton the lead.
The first one, their number 10, the Overton kid, broke, and I thought he was open, honestly. Samaje, number 22, made a great play on the ball and took it to the house. Those were the difference in the games. And then Lechuga's there, number 6, the defensive end. That was just a kid making a play. And he made mistakes this game, but we told him in the week, guys, I don't care if you make mistakes, make the plays. And, man, he came back and made a really big play there, and then we made the plays down the end when we needed to.
It was necessary for the defense to make plays because the offense struggled most of the day. Tipton fumbled the ball 4 times, including twice in the final minutes. Despite the conditions, McBride and Sean-Claude Booth each ran in touchdowns on the night.
We came through when we needed to. It was a sloppy night. We had a lot of turnovers. It was ugly, but we did what we had to do to win. Second half, I felt like our line controlled the line of scrimmage pretty well. We were able to run the football really well. we really just stopped ourselves on that with fumbles. We were in the red zone, we were inside the 30, and we just couldn't get out of our own way. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We won it.
Tipton finishes their championship season at 13-1 overall. From the stands or in the comfort of our own homes, watching the big hits in college and NFL football is exciting. But for the athletes, it can be a very scary and dangerous situation. When you look to the high school level, head injuries and concussions become an even more serious issue. In 2015, 4 high school football players in the United States died from complications due to head injuries, including right here in Oklahoma at Wesleyan Christian High School in Bartlesville. Aside from that, concussions have the chance to cause negative, long-term health effects in teens.
Well, a young brain is more vulnerable to injury than an older brain, so the years later down the road you might see more problems with maybe memory problems, emotional problems, learning difficulty from concussions at a young age.
In the past 20 years, protocols right here on the sideline have changed dramatically. It used to be if you got your bell rung or could still stand and see straight, you were able to go back into the game. Not anymore. MacArthur High School head coach Brett Manning experienced this firsthand, recognizing how much different it is now compared to when he was a player.
I remember having one, and I finished the game. My head hurt until about Tuesday or Wednesday the next week, and then I played in the next game. So, it's good that we're identifying them now, and that we know the damages that they potentially have with them, and erring on the side of caution is a good thing.
According to Lawton High School athletic trainer David Stanley, athletic trainers now conduct more in-depth tests in order to find out the severity of the concussion. The most common method is the Sport Concussion Assessment Tool, or SCAT-3.
I mean, there's some general questions about dizziness, blurred vision, difficulty remembering things. There's a whole list of questions that way. And then there's the typical, what month is it, what day is it, what day of the week, what year is it. And then there's words, this ability to recall words. You ask them a series of 5 words, and then they repeat them to you. You do that 3 separate times.
When looking to the days following a concussion, Stanley says a player must be symptom-free for 7 days before returning to the field.
So if the kid had symptoms that subsided within a few minutes of the concussion, then we could go Friday to Friday. And that's with a grade 1. If we have repeated episodes of grade 2, grade 3, then that time gets lengthened. Sometimes if a kid has a repeated grade 2 or grade 3, he would be disqualified from athletics.
Neither Stanley nor MacArthur athletic trainer Michael Garza have seen an increase in the number of concussions locally, but they are concerned about another potentially dangerous issue.
I think the problem isn't, is there any more? It's, can I get a kid to report it? And a lot of kids will keep it to themselves, and we won't know unless we actually see the hit.
Equipment companies are working with concussions researchers in hopes of making the game safer.
When it comes to helmets, there have been high-tech shells that have been added, better padding, high-density foam padding, plates that are on the helmets that receive a blow, and they're supposed to cushion the head. But there is no amount of protection you can put around the head that is going to keep the brain from moving if the force is applied to the body or head.
One of the more common preventative measures comes with teaching the proper techniques of blocking and tackling.
From day one, we start talking about the fundamentals of a tackle, and we don't want to use our helmet as any part of the tackle. It's just protection for the head.
Despite all the protective measures being taken, some parents may still voice concerns about their children playing football.
Football is a great sport, a great team sport. It teaches you so much about life and how to be a young man and become a young man that is great for society, that I would not tell them that the concussion, the thought of having a concussion should be enough to prevent their son from playing.
Reporting for 7 Sports, I'm Jack McGuire.